Let's get this thing going. Welcome to game number 1, Hero Island League. Let's head down to Hero Island for game number 1. And of course, starting off, you've got HakunaMatata at number 1, DavBav starting at number 2, Ivy number 3, and then, oh no, it's HakunaMatata, the real one. I know this because he's gold. Wait a minute. Who's starting first? That's actually Shinuslaw. They're trolling already. Wow. That's what we love to see here, though. Hero Island League. Let's have some fun with this. So, in first, it's gotta be Shin. Tabletop presence, it's a great time already. What a start. Got me with that one. Of course, it's Matata Hakuna. Okay, well, let's look down at the board real quick here. What do we have? This is an island with outer ring desert. I've been starting to look at these outer ring deserts a lot more. This one, of course, not on a corner. It's on the side, the inside. Let's have a quick look. 10s on ore. Wow. And only a 5 elsewhere. Brick, 693. We love to see those. Lots of wheat right through the middle here. Cutting through the middle, you got 8, 4, 5, 6 wheat. Wood, of course, 84 up in the top right corner. You've got somewhat rare wood otherwise on the 3 and the 11. And sheep. Oh my, did anyone look at the sheep? We've got a 9 sheep in the southeast corner paired up with a 12, an 11, and a 2. Couldn't think of a better way to start off these games here. Let's see where Shin or Matata Hakuna will decide to go right now. We do have some great spots here. Yeah, 5, 9, 10 starting off with the ore wheat sheep in the southeast corner. What a great spot to pick. Of course, I think he's going to have some good stuff coming back on the way there. Next up is going to be DavBav, the streamer, 2 sheep extraordinaire, co-creator, co-founder. I've been watching some of his games lately. His VP pulling, his dev pulling, we've seen it. Yesterday I was watching a game. He pulled 3 VPs. It was pretty amazing. Let's have a quick look at where he might decide to go. 8-4-10, of course, a night spot. 6-9-3, maybe some spots with the 9-3-4 here if he really wants to go that way. 8-4-3, but even the 6-4-3, 6-4-11, all of those high value spots. We've got a 9-10-11 later on and a 6-5-11 later on. Let's kind of see where I think Dav really likes going for some ports. He tends to actually take some of these setups where he ends up taking a coastal spot on his second pick. Almost like a build to 10 sort of a guy. Likes pulling VPs, likes pacing, as they say. I don't know if he's going to try and get a hold of all this wheat. He's almost guaranteed himself, a 3-1 port on the outside. I do think it is going to be one of those ones where there's lots of value here on the 6-9-3 brick 3-1 ports. And he does. He decides to go for that 8-4-10 down in the south. So he's going to be really tied, really close together with Shin. And they're going to be sharing that 10. Slightly better wheat, though. He'll have to find some sheep on the way back. In third, we've got Ivy27, one of my favorite players. And, of course, he's actually involved in some Pokemon Auto Arena, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But Ivy, you've seen him, TSS, and a whole bunch of other tournaments. He's probably been in the community, I would say, even longer than I have. Solid player, fantastic player. He does tend to favor a little bit of that ore wheat sheep, but you know what? If you can't get all that together, I think he might have to start looking at this 6-9-3. Of course, there's so much wooden brick out there. I haven't really talked about this 8-4-3 to the wood port, maybe a shot at getting to the brick port here as well. I think there's definitely a play, and it's just whether or not it's going to be Ivy or Hakuna that do that. And you can see them talking in the chat there a little bit, let the cards fall where they may. And you know what? It is that 8-4-3 to the wood port. Fantastic call out there. So that's it for Ivy. And last but not least, the HIL crown in the logo himself. That super GM HakunaMatata with the last and final pick. He's going to have that 4th, 5th back-to-back. 6-9-3 almost seems like a guarantee because of that production, but I wouldn't even say that. How do you get your ore here on the 5-10? How do you get that 6-5-11 sort of ore? Really kind of a tricky spot. He may have to look at what Ivy wants to get on the way back. Ivy's probably going to find some value in either the ore, either the brick, or even the wheat. I think he might look at something like the 9-4-11, 9-10-11. So if there's any way that Hakuna either wants to work together or even deny Ivy some of those spots, I think that's what I'd be looking for here. Other spots that we haven't talked too much about, this 6-4-11, always a good spot, but not really good ports on that out. So I think that's why we haven't talked about it too much. And it is the 6-5-11 first in the middle, double wheat with a bit of wood, and then the 6-9-3 pointing up to the 3-1. So going for high production, coordinated sixes of wheat and brick, but that high production, he's got so much in the way of just raw pips and raw production. We're circling back. It's going to be Ivy right now, coming back with his 5th pick. Second settlement coming down. Like I said, he might look at that 9-4-11, but you know what? That actually ruins his road network a little bit because more likely than not, someone will take that 10-3-11. So what does that mean? I think he's thinking about moving upwards here, or going even further for all of that ore and maybe even fighting this 3-1 port on the sheep. Who knows? That might be a little fight that they have. Coming back around, it is back to Dav on blue, who's on the 8 wheat, 4 wheat, 10 ore. He'd love to get some sheep, but you know what? There really isn't too much. He's almost playing a bit of a production game, and in some ways, I actually think this is worth looking at the other 10 so that he doubles up his ore, and he's never really blockable on that ore because he's either sharing with Shin or sharing with Ivy. Now, at the same time, does he want to share all those hexes with people? Because that robber's going to live on either of these 10s or maybe even this 5 wheat a little bit later on. No, he does it. He goes for the 9-10-11. 9 brick, 10 ore, 11 wood. Now, does he point right and try to disrupt Ivy's road building, or does he point down for maybe a cheeky little road connect later on? Road points right. Ivy with the double wood and a little bit of brick. they're going to have a little bit of a fight for this 10-3. Now, Ivy's road connection still going to be okay. He's going up to this wood port, and of course, there's lots of space around the coast for them to get around and build that longest road. 8th pick, Shin, started on the 5 wheat, 10 ore, 9 sheep, and he slams it down 6-4-11, left all the way to the end, and just like that, it's turn number 1. We are on. That's it for Ivy there. This is Hero Island League, game number 1, and to start it all off, it's a 6. And who starts on that? Hakuna with the brick and the wheat. Can't get much better than that. That's a great roll. He's betting on the 6s, and you know, if it hits, it hits. Starting to look for a trade early on. And he's looking to give away wheat to get that brick. Now, I don't know if anyone will bite. It's so early on here. I think he's going to start off with that road, but where's he going? I think it is that 3-1 port. You know, once he doubles up these 6s or triples up these 6s, production is going to be out of this world. 7 rolled by DavBav. He's got robber control nice and early on. 5 wheat certainly looking like a juicy spot. But of course with Dav here, you know, the 6 is probably even a little bit better. Gets a hold of Shin there, shuts down a little bit of that Hakuna production. Now because he's on this other 10, I don't think he's going to solo block Ivy or anything like that. There may be a world here where it is the 4 wood, and just as I say that, he does put it down there. So really slowing down Shin quite a bit. Ivy, you know, it doesn't really hurt him too much. He does get stolen from, but he's still got that 8 wood that he can come back for. Next roll, turn 3 here. That is a number 5. 5 was coordinated, and there was potential to coordinate those 5s, the ore and the wheat going out. Almost everybody hits but Dav. And the 2. There's our first 2. Nice 2. And that is a sheep. That is a rare sheep for Ivy. Super rare sheep for Ivy. I think he's happy to see that one. Doesn't need to trade for it anymore, but you know what? Now Hakuna is looking to get some wood. Brick for wheat, that's almost a straight 1-to-1 trade. I could see, you know, Ivy looking at that. Maybe even DavBav trying to make that work. But, you know, Dav's on the 9. He's okay to wait for that one. Trying to switch it up now. Hakuna offering wheat for ore. A little bit different there. That's right. So still trying to make that happen, and of course you can see exactly what they're saying in that HIL voice chat down in your bottom left. That's live chat going on right now that is actually transcribing what they're saying and putting it all down there in real time. Next roll here, we're already on turn 5, and that is a 5 on turn 5. Ore for Ivy, wheat for Hakuna, wheat for Shin. And now it's right back to that same trade. Shin's still looking to give away that wheat for ore. Hard to come by. You know, a couple of 5s have been out there. I could see Ivy holding on for an early city here. 8 rolled by Dav on the next turn. That's turn 6. There's that wood that Ivy was looking for, and Dav finally hit something. He's got a little bit of wheat. And you know what? If I'm Dav, I am looking to offload some of that wheat. Might be some trades here. Dav may be looking towards Ivy to offload some of that wheat, trade a little bit of that wood. Ivy needs wheat. He needs to get that city up, and once he gets the city up and he gets that wood port activated, I think he's going to be doing just fine with prospects for road. Dav here a little bit tougher. Dav has to pace himself again. Get some of those cities up, get some of those development cards. Now you can actually see Hakuna did drop a road down here, 5-12. He's going for the wheat port, and just as I say wheat, another 5. These 5s are going off today. But Hakuna, you can see going for that 9-12 wheat port in the southeast corner. That's going to accelerate their game quite quickly. Now still not going to be on any ore at all this game. Kind of tough for him. With that 5 roll again, lots of wheat out on the board. Ivy, though, should have 3 ore unless one was stolen from him earlier. Dav may have taken that one from him. Trade's going out. Ivy is actually willing to trade that ore out for a wheat, and now a counter offer to wheat for a little bit of everything. Wood, sheep, and ore. Oh my goodness, some of the trade offers coming out. 2 cards, 3 cards. What finally goes through? Wow, it's a trade from Ivy, wood, sheep, and ore for 3 wheat. What is happening? That's one of the biggest trades I've seen here. Wow, that was a multiple card trade. I think mutually beneficial though. Wood, of course, Hakuna is only on the 11. Sheep, that was Ivy's rare sheep, getting that out of there. And you know what? Hakuna doesn't make any of that either. And ore, which Hakuna also doesn't make. So they just traded each other basically all the cards that the other player doesn't produce. 3 for 3, and that city goes down. We've got our first city. 8 for 3. Ivy off to a fast start. 9 rolls on turn 8 here. Double brick. That's 1 for Hakuna, 1 for Dav, and then there's a sheep finally. Sheep out there for Shin off of that. Well, the highest production. 9 sheep on this board. It goes out to Hakuna now. He got that massive trade, but now looking to flip that wood because Hakuna is on the 3 and the 11 and trying to get some ore. DavBav trying to get in on that deal, and he's trying to take that in. I think this might potentially be a city for Hakuna here, although I'm not sure he's got the ore for it. He has at least the 1 there. I haven't been tracking too much. Tries to switch it up, brick for wood now, probably still trying to stretch for that wheat port. I think once that wheat port comes online, that city comes a lot easier and a lot faster. The counter offer here from Shin, trying to extract a little bit of value. Brick ore for wood, I think that's a reasonable sort of a trade for Shin. Shin hasn't really gotten moving much. You know, no development card, no road down. You know, he's going to have to fight Dav for that 3-1 down in the south. So Hakuna definitely says that he cannot give away any of his ore, and I agree with him. It's such a rare resource. You know, is there a world if he gives away that ore, it's got to be a really fantastic deal, and he actually might give it away to Shin here, and that deal goes through. Matata trades brick ore for wood wheat, and that's a road settle down on the 9-12 southeast. The wheat port is activated. Turn number 9, 8 rolls. Shin pops the first Dav. We're popping. That's our first development card of the game. Can he do anything else? Shin here, after rolling that 8, you know, his production has not been the highest compared to the other players. He goes ahead and passes. It's on to Dav the 4. It's blocked. Oh, that's a sad cat. You know, great block. The robber has not moved from that 4 wood. That's 2 wood denied to Ivy, 1 wood denied to Shin, but there was 1 wheat that did go out to Dav. So DavBav right now sitting on 8 cards, but only on 2 points. He's the only other player on 2 points with Shin here. Dav trying to make some deals happen. Can he pop? Can he get his city off? He is somewhat falling behind here. You know, Shin's got the development card on him right now. We'll call that pacing on Army for now. Shin will most likely look to continue popping, especially once he gets on that 3-1 and get that city up. Dav offering wheat, trying to get some wood, maybe targeting Ivy here. Hakuna, I don't think has any left over since he got that extra road settle out there. And with the 4 block, this is, you know, one of those classic block the resource that you want to trade for. I don't know if there's going to be much success on this trade here from DavBav, but he's got to do something. He's on 8 resources right now. He must get that hand down below 7, and it's actually much trickier now. To get insurance, which it may or may not be allowed depending on how you're doing it. He might just have to offer something like a 2-1 if he wants to get some of those cards out of his hand. So still looking for that wheat for wood option here. You know, best case scenario I think for Dav here is maybe to pull something like a road builder. He's going to be fighting Shin for this 3-1, but honestly this other 3-1 on the 8 gives him more production. Does he have anywhere to go? Well, yeah, there's this 10-3, but you know what? Is there a world where he plows all the way to the wood port and cuts off Ivy? I don't know. That could be a tricky one to watch out for too, especially if he ends up getting that pop. There are some opportunities out there. Is there a world where he even back plows, you know, Hakuna, if Hakuna gets too strong to 6-2? Well, I think all of that is contingent on a road builder. DavBav drops a road, and you know what? He's pointing to that 3-1. Ivy with the 7 to control here. And yeah, I think Shin has got to be careful. I mean, doubling up, tripling up even for Dav as the 10 or. I think, getting Shin out of the game here. Sorry for all the HIL fantasy players who picked on Shin, but you know what? Shin's going to be forced off to a 9 sheep. He's going to have a useless brick port because he doesn't produce any. And then he might get this ore port, but he's still got to city this up. Although that is going to be the first city for him anyway. In the meantime, Ivy with the robber here. He goes onto the 6 wheat, and that is of course blocking Hakuna's 6 and Shin's 6. That is Shin's best wheat, but Shin's got another wheat tile. Hakuna on the other hand does not. Ivy wheeling and dealing wood ore to try and get a brick, try to get a road down, and I'm assuming go to that wood port. Hard to trade here, but 2-1, if that ore gets you your city, might be worth it. Because people are going to be blocking Ivy anyway. They're going to be looking at that 8 wood, maybe even a solo block. They could be looking at his 10 ore, maybe even a solo on the 5 ore. No takers on that trade. Hakuna rolls the 6. He only has the 1 brick in hand. Sad cat. He was blocked out here on that 6. And then same for Shin. No wheat on that 6 roll either. Already at turn 12 here. 3 rounds in. I don't know what Hakuna is able to do here. He'll probably have to pass it along. Trying to flip his brick for that wood ore. That was the trade that Ivy had given. Shin says no immediately. Looks like Dav and Shin might be, talking about potentially taking this trade or stopping it altogether. And it sounds like Ivy is saying that when it's his turn, he'll go ahead and do that. I don't see a reason to do it right now, Of course, Hakuna is just on the 1 card here as well. But getting that rare wood, getting that rare ore, maybe Hakuna's looking to save up and bank up for that city. I don't think there's going to be too much action here. Ivy doesn't seem interested, at least not until his turn. So he'll have to wait just a little bit longer. Yeah, Ivy says, now I'm going to wait, and he's not giving it to him ever. So it's either now or never. Is Hakuna's, avoid the chilling effect? Is that going to happen? DavBav, not quite 0 card meta yet, but maybe we'll see some of that. Of course, Shin's been a little bit on the quiet side here, but of course, Shin is holding on to a lot of that ore. And the trade goes through. Hakuna, with the table talk, gets Ivy to cough it up. The 2-for-1 on Hakuna's turn. A knight is played. That's our first knight. Shin rallying the troops here. First knight played, and what's he gonna do? He better not be extorting right here, right now. There better not be an extortion, Shin. He's got to move that and try to search for something. He's got 5 seconds left to play. Guaranteed he's actually trying to extort someone right now. There it is. There's the 9 brick block. That's Hakuna and Dav. And I could see him trying to steal from Dav here because of that situation in the bottom, directly down to the south on the 10 ore. Right here where Dav has pointed a road very aggressively, I might say, right directly in Shin's path. The steal finally comes, and it's actually Hakuna. All right, fair enough. Hakuna does have 3 points with that road settle onto the wheat port. Dav, no Davs, and just that road, but I could see that going either way. Shin finally rolls. It is turn 13 here. The 4 rolls. That's double wood for Ivy and a wood for Shin. So Shin does hit on that roll. Wheat for Dav. What's Shin's next move here? Is he willing to trade and try to commit to this 10 ore fight? Or is he going to give that up and go ahead and build the city, keep popping development cards? He's got 1 knight down. All he needs is 2 more. And you know what? That's largest army. That would be 15 bonus points in addition to that 2 victory points that he would get for locking army. Remember, we are playing by HIL Point rules. Huge trade coming down here. Again, there's lots of these multi-card trades coming out. Wheat ore for wood brick. So he's trying to get this road down. He is actually trying to build. I don't know if he's actually got the settlement in hand. That's possible. Are they willing to trade it to him, though? You know, would you give the army player the road settle? And the table does not. Shin does pop, though. He's got a development card in hand. Passes turn 14, a 5 rolls. Ivy with another piece of ore. Now, it is still Dav's turn, so Dav offering 2 wheat for a wood. Oh, I can move that a little bit for you. Thank you. There ended up being more people in the Discord overlay than I thought should be in there. Thank you. There we go. Trade still going out. It is now wheat ore to try and get that wood. Dav looking to make a deal happen. And you know what? This actually all 3 players simultaneously accept. All 3 players. The wood for a wheat ore. Too attractive. The trade goes through to Shin. Now, you know what? I like that. He's plowing Shin. He drops a settlement on the 10. Shin a little bit weakened. And he takes the trade with Shin instead. So 3 points for Dav now. And his 10 is tripled up. Do you see that? 2 on this one. 1 on this one. So a 10 and a couple of other rolls. And Dav is going to have cities easily. That's close to a plow. It's a very, very soft one. I'm going to reserve it for our first full-on plow. Very soft, very soft. I'm not even sure that Shin was even in the market or in the area for that plow. I don't think Shin could get any brick trades. No one was willing to trade him the wood. You know that Shin's going to be the army player, of course, right? Shin's going to be that army player. Oh, the road comes down, though. Ivy, free and unimpeded in his path in that north. The 9, great block here. Blocks the brick for Hakuna and Dav. There is sheep on the board, though, and Shin and Hakuna are the only owners of that sheep. Hakuna willing to trade it away, but trying to get 2 cards from it. Look how rare the sheep are. You know, the sheep trying to get a brick and an ore or 2 ore. Looks like Shin might be able to take that deal. Shin really wants to keep popping here. Is this 2 pops for Shin, or is he just trying to get down under? Right? Because he's at 8 cards. Shin is at 8 cards. Hakuna's only at 4. So he might just be giving it away to try and get under. So now he's going to try and come back with a 2 for 2, but that still keeps him up over the top there. Really changes the way that people are trading. You know, they're used to doing free cards, insurance, trading things back and forth. That is technically not allowed. So it does change the way that they try. And so here they are. They're going to be working their way through here. Hakuna still looking for trades, actively looking, but nobody's biting. Nobody is taking them. The 8 rolls, double wood for Ivy, single wheat for Dav. It is Shin's turn with 8 cards. Survive the 7. Pops and passes the 6. Hakuna, you love to see it. The 10 afterwards. That was a fast pass by Dav. No action there, but now he hits on the 3. Or the City second. City comes down for Ivy. 5, 10, 2, 8, 3, 4 cities. Ivy is off to a fast start, and another 8 drops on turn 20. Ivy's production is skyrocketing right now. He is only a few roads away, a settlement away. He's going to have road. He's going to have the wood port. Ivy is looking like he is zooming up the hill. And what is this? Hakuna is offering a settlement for 3 ore. What a trade. He's looking for 3 ore. That was definitely targeted at Dav, because Dav's the only one that makes 3 ore on the 10. Tries to flip it a little bit, changes that trade deal up. Dav wanting to get wooden brick for double wheat. I have yet to see Hakuna make really good use of that wheat port just yet, but you know what? He needs a little bit more production. And you know what? That 6, 5, 11 city in the future is going to look pretty good. Change up in the deal, wood, brick, wheat to try and get 2 ore. Dav says no immediately, so he's looking towards Shin there too. Shin is, of course, catching a little piece of that 10. And I don't think Ivy's got that either, since he just dropped the city down. Looks like Matata builds another road. That's off to the west side there on the 6-2, 3-1 port. So Hakuna playing a bit of a slower game, a little bit of a developmental game, but you know what? If these 6s keep hitting the way that they do, Hakuna is going to be just fine. And I should let you all know, dice tracking is actually off in the game settings. So the players can't actually go up and check the dice and what has rolled. But I can tell you just from sitting here, the 6s have been popping off quite a bit. But so have the 8s. They've been keeping pretty much in pace with each other. Shin looking for to offload his brick to get an ore. I think definitely looking for a city here. 8 cards. He has two down devs. Untested cards for Shin. Shin, I think, maybe playing a pretty masterful pacing game here. If he can get the city on the 9, 5, 10, start popping a couple more times, I think Shin will have a great time. If he's got a Yop, if he's got something else going on in those down devs, I think he'll have a great time here. Now, Shin talking a little bit in here. They are actually calculating points. They are actually live calculating HIL points right now, which is so awesome. You know, every city, 15 points, 15 points. Every road, 2 points, 2 points. You know, and then you look at Shin, who actually drops another knight. Hello? That's 2 knights played. Well on his way to claiming army here. And that steal actually from Dav. Ivy with the 2 cities, but he stole from DavBav. There's no extortion. No extortion. They cannot say anything. And so Shin makes the pick. Shin, stop extorting. He goes ahead. Hakuna trades 4. Well, what is that? Shin trades 4 to 1 to get the ore. Wow. I think Shin is really trying to get another pop, really trying to get the city down here. I don't think there's any urgency to get more development cards. I think the city is very critical to the rest of his game here, and he needs to get that going as soon as possible. But I'm not sure anyone else is willing to give it to him that easily, that cheap, that free. It's only Ivy and Dav who have that ore, and they can really control his fate if those 10s don't roll. And you know what? It's not a 10, it's an 11 that rolls. Turn 22 now. We're starting to approach that mid game, especially with Ivy on 4 points. It is Dav's turn. Dav gets the city down. 8, 4, 10. Absolutely monster city. Now that 10 is tripled up at the bottom, but the 8, the 4, those are doubled up wheat. Dav with an absolutely huge city. Ivy, control of the robber, free. It's a 7. And you know where that's going. Yeah, that's going right down on that fresh new city. And he's going to steal from Dav too. So maybe Shin knew something that we didn't. And he was trying to break that up there. Break up that city, especially with that 10 roll. He was just sitting on that 3 ore. So really going after that ore, trying to break that up. You know, Ivy's cities were already down. Now Ivy's still trying to get that settlement down. Oh, ore for sheep is accepted. Ivy giving away ore. Shin potentially giving away the sheep. This looks like maybe a city for settlement trade. Maybe mutually beneficial. And no, it's a 4 to 1 instead to the bank. 4 wood for the sheep. Ivy passes and holds. Ivy sitting on 4 cards. And now it looks like Hakuna rolling more 6s. Rolling more 6s. So yeah, that last trade, yeah, that was Shin trying to counter offer and trying to get that trade off. Ivy didn't like it, and he goes for that 4 to 1 instead. Now it's back to Hakuna. Hakuna needs to get either the settlement or the city down. You know, and if I had a choice on 9 cards and I could somehow get that city up, that's where I would be going. I don't know that he's got that. I don't know that anyone's willing to give him that either. Let's see where he goes with this one. So Shin's the only one that has ore. It's just that he needs it. He needs it to city. He needs it to pop. It's so hard for Shin to give up his ore. I don't know who he's going to go to. And yeah, it is just a 2 for 1 with his wheat port. So finally making use of that 9-12 wheat. Looking to give 3 to 1 ore. And he does it. Hakuna to Shin. Trades ore to Shin for brick, wheat. And just in case you didn't know, Shin is the player in red. Matata Hakuna instead. Matata gets the settlement down. That's the 6-2 3 to 1 port. A lot more flexible now. He also goes ahead and trades 2 wheat for an ore and holds on 5 cards and passes. Oh, there's the city. We've got our first largest army. Shin rallying the troops, bringing it all together. 3 devs, 3 knights. Shin on red, Matata Hakuna claims army and slams the robber down on the 10. Of course, the steal now. Is it still Ivy or is it Dav? Now, Dav only had the 1 card, so it is the steal from Ivy. And Shin with another 7, the back-to-back. And again, remember, Army and Longest Road are both plus 15. But each road and each development card are worth 2. So, of course, Shin already, just by taking Army, 6 points for the development cards, 15 points for Army. He's at 21 just off of that alone. The robber makes their way to the 9 brick just southwest of that 10 ore. And is it a back-to-back steal? No, he goes and steals from Dav, taking him down to 0 cards this time. And nothing else going on there. A pass. Dav with the free 7 to unload their robber on 9. Now Shin and potentially Ivy here. No, it's the rare sheep. Hakuna catches a bit of this. Now Shin's on 5 as it shows because of Army. Everybody else at 4 points. We're making our way into the mid game here. Turn 26. And lots of 7s in this early game. So those 6s, 7s, and 8s. I think the dice are rolling true today. And so there's that 7 on there. No extortion, of course. He ends up stealing back from Shin, leaving Hakuna on his 5 cards, and he hits a 10. A 10. And he passes right away, but that's 4 ore in Dav's hands. We got 2 in Ivy's and 2 in Shin's. Those 10s are massive right now. Imagine a monopoly on the 10. And you know what? I was saying that Shin didn't have good ports, but if Shin can make their way onto this ore port and they hit a 10, that is an absolute monster late game monopoly. In the meantime, Ivy is trying to give away 2 ore to get his settlement down, looking for, I think, any of those resources to try and get that wood port. But I would be very reluctant if I was any of these other players trying to get that. But maybe a 2 ore for 2 brick and a wheat trade. Hakuna might be willing to make that offer. That would be mutual again. City for settlement. Okay. And they're looking, I think right now the discussion is maybe who's going to play for road afterwards. Right? Like right now, Shin has got Army on lock. So unless Dav starts popping a whole bunch right now, of course, that's pretty tough to do with no sheep. Although that 10, every time a 10 rolls, it is effectively an ore and a sheep now because of that 3-to-1 port. Ivy, of course, could start popping if he gets that wood port. Hakuna with the wheat port, I think if they get a city up, they could start popping too. But this trade, again, a multiple card trade. Ivy trades 2 ore away for 2 brick and a wheat. Taking the gambles. Ivy drops another road that actually was not the settlement, but it was the city, the 6-5-11. Ivy making it looks like he's taking a gamble with that trade. Meanwhile, turn 29, a 4, rare 4 hits. That's going to be 2 wheat in Dav's hands, but that brings the wood into Shin and Ivy's. So Ivy has got a setup now, 2 open settles off of 2 cities. Now Shin trying to flip some of that ore back at a higher value again, trying to get wood double brick. So Shin finally realizing that he does need at least 1 other settlement spot. Where's he going? I have no idea. He says, thanks for watching. I think he offered the wrong deal. There it is. Looks like they're dealing the sheep for the ore. Ore goes back. And actually, that's going to be the second city for Shin. 6-4-11. Shin on 6 points. Did anybody have Shin on their HIL fantasy? Right after that, the 6 is rewarded, but that is 4 resources for Hakuna. Wow, the fast city from Dav on the 9, 10, 11. The players are playing fast now because Ivy drops the settlement on the wood port. 2-1 activated. Turn 31 now. Turn 32 already. The 8, instant reward. Every time they build something, it hits. The 8 is a triple wood for Ivy, which means a coordinated road, basically. Hakuna's turn now, though, after that 8. There is some wheat in Dav's hand, too, there from that 8 roll. But now with the 8, it's Hakuna's turn. 5 cards in hand. No down devs at all whatsoever for any of the players, though. But we have a quick score check. It's 6 points for Shin off 2 cities. DavBav at 5. With 2 cities and a settlement, a 3-1 port. Ivy, 2 cities and a settlement, down with the wood port. No down devs. Hakuna, 1 city, 3 settlements with a wheat port and a 3-1, and potentially looking at a road network right through the middle to compete with Ivy in the north. At the same time, Dav could change his mind and start building that road network right down the middle too. Really tricky spot for everybody right now. The only thing that's not up for contest is that largest army. Dav trying to offer some trades here back at Hakuna. Hakuna had 5 cards, no urgent pressure, but there are a lot of big rolls here. Hakuna's 6s will immediately put him over. That 6 is worth 4 cards, so 5 cards doesn't seem like much, but you hit a 6 and you hit a 7, all of a sudden Hakuna 7's out. All right, in Hakuna's hand, he's got a sheep and an ore. Looking to talk to DavBav here about what he can offer. Seems like not a great deal. Shin's trying to interject in there too. I'm not sure what Hakuna's next play is. It is 4 roads in here, but that doesn't necessarily get his production up any further. It could be the city on the 693, especially with the 3-1 port. That seems like a reasonable turn, but they pass, and it's Shin's turn, and another 8 drops down. Ivy laughing right now. At least 6 wood in hand. 6 wood in hand for Ivy at least. Otherwise, Shin is trying to make a trade here. Again, multiple. Oh, and it's the 7! We've got DavBav on 8 cards, Ivy on 10, double 7 out here. It is rolled on DavBav's turn, and he kicks it up to the 8 wood. Ouch. Adding insult to injury, Ivy having to throw away 5 cards, loses a 6th. Ivy down to 4 cards in hand. Dav with the pop, though, and that's dangerous for the table. Also drops another road down on the 8 wheat going to that 3-1 port, and you know what hits? The 10. Wow. Dav 5 ore on a 10 roll. 5 ore right now. Ivy can't be too upset though. He gets 2 ore from that 10, and again, Shin gets 2 ore from the 10. So lots of ore on the table, and you can see that resource stack pretty much half full just from one 10 roll. So much ore out there, and you know what? You know the wheat's coming. 4, 5, 6, and 8. There is going to be a lot of wheat out there. I think this game will go very, very quickly after this. They're loving each other in voice chat here. He was going to make a joke, but he wasn't going to say it because he knows it's all recorded. I do really enjoy this transcribed voice chat here. You can hear and see exactly everything they're talking about. Ivy's still trying to turn it back. He's got 6 resources right now, trying to look for a deal. He would love to get another settlement down here on the 5. Of course, that is a sheep port. Again, though, is there enough sheep to monopoly? I don't know, but that it would be another settlement down. That would be a tripled up 5. There is a chance that, Ivy decides to split off and try to take this 10-3. It breaks up his road network a little bit, and it doesn't really get him any new numbers, but that is another spot he can look at. He's still got this 5 desert up at the top as well. A little bit of a more natural road network if he wants to go that way, which I suspect he may do. Wouldn't add a ton of value in terms of the settlement and the production that it offers, but an uncontested road network sounds pretty good to me. Going back to the brick port certainly is an option, and it does push Shin even further away. But yeah, it's a few resources, and it's the 2. The 2 is the rare sheep on here. Hakuna hits it, but so does Ivy, and that might actually enable Ivy to pop. Hakuna, looking to get value off of that immediately, throws it out for an ore, realizes maybe he can get a little bit more because Dav and Shin both said yes to that, and they are both starting to pop. You know, and truthfully, I might even give it to Shin here, but I'd still be pretty careful with Dav. I think both those trades could be a little bit of a disaster depending on what they pull. Dav's still got an untested development card right now. And so, you know, if he gets 2 or 3 of those untested face-down development cards, who knows what's going to happen. In the meantime, trade's still on the table. Sheep for ore, both accepted by Dav and Shin. The sheep for 2 was denied. And so now all trades off the table. All trades off the table. Hakuna on 6 cards. Ivy over again, though. Robber on his 8, but he's also on 8 cards. And he's got 3 rolls. It's Shin, Dav, and then Ivy. I don't know if Ivy survives another round of this. Hakuna coming back with a different trade. Brick sheep for 2 wheat and an ore. Really looks like he's trying to get another city down, you know, not looking to pop. But, you know, that city on that 693, I think, would really help him secure that road network right down the middle. He's got to get that brick production up. He's got to get that wood production up. And if he can do that, or just get his raw production up, then he can use that 6-9. He can use the 6s. And actually, we should talk about that. Because he's got a 6 here on the wheat and 2 6s here. They're already coordinated. That is a road, by the way. So every time a 6 rolls, he's producing a road plus a little bit more. And a big trade. 3 for 2. 2 brick and a sheep. Or 3 for 3. 2 brick and a sheep for 2 wheat and an ore. Hakuna on 6 cards here. Trades 2 wheat to the bank for an ore. 5 resources and passes, holding on for that city, and oh, the 8 is blocked. 3 wood denied for Ivy, but 2 wheat free in Dav's hand right now. How about those blocks? Ivy was off to such a fast start, and things have just kind of slowed down. You know, hard to get road. There's going to be competition. He doesn't have the best brick. Hard to pop because, again, Shin locked down Army so early on. Shin now looking to get wood off of the ore, needs to drop a road down, and you know what, no one's willing to give it to him, so he just buys another development card. Actually, he did have the road in hand. Look at that, drops the road down. That's gonna go out, but the 6 rolls out, and that's Hakuna who's gonna be making 2 brick, 2 wheat off of that. Shin does hold 2 wheat there as well. So far, Ivy surviving on 8 resources, but even Hakuna now on 9 has to dodge some 7s. DavBav, 1 down Dev, 7 resources. Open settle on another 3-1 port down on the 8 wheat. Another settle here would be massive for Dav. Just in terms of that production, every 8 is a free card. That makes up for the wood or for the sheep that he doesn't have. Shin talking heavy in the chat, trying to make a deal with him. How many? They're trying to make a 2 for 2 trade here. It looks like that. 2 ore for brick and sheep. So tough trades for Dav here. I'm not sure people are going to be willing to put Dav even further ahead here. He's on that 5. Not sure what that down dev is. Could be a mono, right? Could be a road builder. Could be something very useful. But if you've seen any of Dav's games, I put my money on VP right now until it's tested. What is this? It's an ore for 3 brick. An ore for 3 brick. That's targeting Hakuna, it looks like. Or, yeah, that was to Hakuna, and it's a 3-1. So he makes a sheep and pops, passes. Ivy survives the 7, survives the round, rolls a 4, gets 2 wood from that anyway. Who cares about that 8 block? Now, Ivy does maybe have some space here to maneuver with 10 cards in hand, but is it just the settle on the 5 ore in the northwest, or can he do a little bit more here? In the meantime, it looks like It looks like Shin's talking about some other things. But the settlement comes down. That is on the sheep port. Ivy going for those guaranteed points. The 7 hits and everybody is under. Everybody dodges it. Hakuna down to 7. I can see why that trade happened now. Because Hakuna, that was his insurance. Hakuna was over. Ivy was over. Hakuna actually just saved himself by giving Dav that pop. Look at that. Robber moves though. Hakuna blocking the 10, the shared 10 here, close to the northwest. And that's where Ivy and Dav both have cities on there. Now Dav's other 10, city and settlement, along with Shin with the city on it, that one's still open. So any 10, still a big roll for the table. There's just so much production here. It's turn 40, and I'd say we're into the starting to creep into that late game now. Game is progressing very quickly because of these multi-card trades. Hakuna steals from Dav and drops a city. That 693 is activated. Uh-oh, a couple roads, and Hakuna is going to run away with this potentially. In the meantime, turn 41, the 5 rolls afterwards. That's 3 ore for Ivy, 2 wheat for Hakuna and Shin. Hakuna making big moves. Hakuna 6 points, 5 cards. Shin on his turn, 6 points, 7 resources, 1 down Dev, trying to offer some 2-to-1 trades. Dav on 5 points, 2 development cards. Ivy on a hard 6. Maybe some prospects for roads though. Might take about 4 roads to get him there. In the meantime, I think, Shin's best interest, he's got an open settle on the ore port. And then, of course, it's all pop from there, right? Offering 2 wheat for a sheep, but the sheep is so hard to come by, so hard to make, so hard to trade for, so hard to produce this whole game. I think that's been the story. So even getting the army so far ahead, so fast, I think that's advantageous. No trades happened, though, so Shin goes ahead and passes. Dav, taking a little bit of time, might have a knight here. Might be thinking about playing the knight to move it off of the 10, but does he need to? I'm not quite sure. Dav likes to take his time a bit. He does play the knight, so that's army competition, I guess, if you want to call it that. It'd take at least another 3 rounds if Dav can continuously pop to catch up to Shin, but ooh, that is a long time. No extortion, time ticking down. Where's it going to move? It's the 6 wheat. Great block there, blocks Shin, blocks Hakuna, and a 7 rolls after that, so he gets to move it again. Back-to-back steals. Is he going to target Shin again? Well, they have a 5 wheat that's shared between Shin and Hakuna as well, but no, he goes after the 4 wood and steals from Ivy. Ivy not escaping Dav's radar, even though he's on a hard 6. Shin, though, arguably with 1 down Dev at 6 points and 7 resources might have been a bit more of a threat there, but hey, maybe he sees something that we didn't. In the meantime, Dav here still with 1 open settle at the bottom. He goes 3-to-1. Wheat for sheep and pops a development card, passes a 3. I don't know if I've seen one of those. A 3 is 2 wood for Hakuna, 2 brick for Ivy. 3 is a massive roll for Ivy in terms of road building, and it is Ivy's turn on 8 resources right now. I think there might be a couple of roads dropping down here, but he's actually looking to turn 2 ore into 2 wheat. Hakuna maybe thinking about this one. Shin and Dav rejecting that offer. And looks like no takers on that one. Interesting spot for Ivy, he's got, road potentially. Oh, he goes 4-to-1, trades away all of his ore for another brick and holds. Hakuna rolls a 6 and now on 11 resources. Massive turn incoming. I think this one's going to be big. Hakuna has some choices right now. Hakuna has some choices. He has so many places that he could build to. He could circle this 6. He could build back to the 3-to-1. He could stretch to this 8-3. He could connect through the middle. Maybe come off to the 9, squeeze Shin out of another spot, or even go the other way and get to the ore port. I think Hakuna's got the resources, but at this phase, is he gonna start to connect here? The connect might be game saving, game changing, maybe even game winning right now. but he has to make sure that he can actually make it all the way there without Dav coming through to come back and cut him off. Of course, pretty hard for Dav to do, but he's got 2 down devs. Could it be a mono? Could it be road builders? Who knows? In the meantime, he's trying to give wheat ore for yet another road. And of course, I think he's going to have to use some of his own cards and do it himself. Nobody is going to trade. Ivy says that too. We're not trading you road. You got to do it yourself. Lots of deals in the making, but as we get further and further into the game, I think there's going to be fewer and fewer of these trades, especially these multiple card trades. It's nice to see them happen early in the game. 3 for 3, 2 for 2s, maybe even some mismatched deals. We saw 3 for 1. But now with everybody on 6, turn 44, potential for some folks to move up to 8 points. We're going to see fewer and fewer of those. Hakuna with the 2-to-1, using that weak port again, coming in handy. 2-to-1 for sheep, and decides to buy a development card. Hakuna in the game for development cards. Most likely a knight, but who knows? Could be something else. Now 2-to-1, wheat for wood, drops 1, 2, 3 roads, and that is the longest road so far. Hakuna rolls a 6 after that. Actually, Shin rolls the 6, but Hakuna produces off of that. Now, of course, Shin, 11 cards now. Lots of that is going to be wheat off of that 6 wheat. But Shin, potential to make some moves too. The one with the road often wins. Hakuna, 8 points. 1 down dev that he just bought. Could it be the magic pull? Could it be that victory point? Who knows? Shin here, very safe with the army. Would like to see him get a settlement or another point down on the board here. 2 wheat and a brick. This game could end just as soon as it begins. Right now offering 2 wheat for a brick, maybe even 3 wheat for a brick. Shin has no efficiency in terms of trading. He has no port. It's either 4-to-1 or you got to trade with the players. And right now, is anyone willing? I think this is targeted to Ivy, but Ivy has straight up said no. I think Ivy needs all of that brick to fight road. And even with all of that brick, well, let's do a quick count. Hakuna's already on 6. With a 7th, Hakuna goes to 9. Ivy, with 4 more roads, only goes to 8. Ivy needs a ton more roads. I think Ivy needs every piece of brick that he can get his hands on. In the meantime, though, Shin really does want to get that settlement down on the ore port. I mean, maybe he does have a monopoly tucked away in there, starting really early on. 20 seconds left. I don't think that 3 wheat for 1 brick trade is going to go through. Still talking it out. He realizes he's got lots of cards left. Ivy doesn't want to make that trade just yet. Forces the 4-to-1. The 4-to-1 comes out, and it is a settlement. He makes him use his own cards to get that settlement down. But Shin now on 7 points, 1 down dev, largest army. We got a knight coming out. That is 2 knights for DavBav. The army race is heating up just a little bit. 6 was blocked, and the 12 hits. That's a rare sheep for Hakuna. Hakuna only on 5 cards. Of course, no open settlements because of the way that he built his roads through the middle. But it is Dav's turn. Dav with 3 cards, 1 down dev. I'm sure he'd love to get another pop here to at least try and fight for army. So, of course, Shin won't trade with him, so he's looking to Ivy. He's looking to Hakuna. But you got to be careful trading with Hakuna. Hakuna's in a really strong spot. Ivy probably his best trading partner here. But Ivy really only makes ore and maybe a touch of sheep. Dav trying to trade away ore for that rare sheep, and no takers on that one. Really, I don't think there's any pacing here for Dav unless he spends everything. And yeah, nothing happens, so he passes. It is now on to Ivy. Ivy rolls the 8. Great roll for him. That's a ton of wood to go with the brick that was in his hand. 8 cards right now. But is this the time to take road, or is this the time to get his production up even further? If he gets his production up even further, I think he zooms in with that road. But which way does he build? You know, does he start going to the 5 desert so that he has an easier connect? Does he go for the brick port so that there's a little bit more, you know, a little bit more flexibility in his build, and he blocks Shin off of a quick road settle? 8 cards though isn't going to be able to be enough to do everything that he wants to do. Now, of course, Dav did get 2 wheat off of that 8 roll as well, so let's keep that in mind. Dav on 5 cards. Hakuna coming up afterwards. Hakuna's going to have 5 cards, 1 down Dev. Ivy trying to give away ore for wheat. Trying to give away ore for wheat. So maybe looking to pop here, maybe looking to road settle as well. I don't think that's a bad play for Ivy. Getting those guaranteed points down. Roads are points, settlements are points. And there it is, a 2 for 2 in the late game. Sheep ore for double wheat. So Dav will be able to pop off of this. Ivy, in the meantime, with the 2 wheat in his hand. I think that's the trade that he wanted. I'm not sure, though. 2 wheat in his hand. It almost looks like a city. But I wonder if Ivy truly does try to start popping too. Get a few of those victory points down. You know, a development card 2 points, a road 2 points. That's gonna be almost equivalent. One could get you a victory point if he thinks the game's gonna end pretty soon. I don't think the game's gonna end. You know, in the next couple of turns. It's only turn 47 right now. Ivy builds a road and he extends it north. He builds 2, and it is the 5 desert that he goes to. So 2 roads down for Ivy, 4 cards, 3 roads down, 2 cards left in hand. There is some competition now. Hakuna's down dev is revealed, and that is a knight. Almost no chance that Hakuna will get largest army off of this. But at least he has that robber control, can get it off of his 6 wheat, and maybe have a good roll after this. But he puts it on Ivy, his road competition, and a rare 11. 2 wood for Hakuna, 2 wood for Dav, 3 rare sheep for Shin. Maybe, just maybe, Shin will be able to pop some more, but in the meantime, Hakuna, 8 resources. He's got the wood in hand. The connect is all but, you know, guaranteed at this point. But after that, Hakuna still has to find 2 more points. And is there a way where Hakuna, you know, really comes down to the 8-3? If I'm Dav here, maybe it's worth building some roads to cut that off. Or maybe even the other way, right? Protect that 8-3 for himself. I don't know if Dav's got that opportunity. I don't know where Hakuna's going. Hakuna with 8 cards. Maybe it's just another city. Although he has 2 wood in hand. I don't know how he's going to make that happen. I think the connect is all but guaranteed here. Maybe Hakuna buys another development card. There aren't a lot of VPs out there. Right? There aren't a lot of victory points out there. A little bit of speculation here about what's in Shin's hand. Some think it's a mono. He said it's not a VP. I think it would be interesting if he was holding on to a Yop for so long too. So I think Shin in a reasonable spot here, but we'll definitely have to look for more points, and at least he has another spot for a city. Hakuna trying to go 1 for 1, wheat for wood. That would be a lot of wood after that 11 roll. He'd have 3. That might be like a sneaky kind of a city off of a 3-1. And if I know Hakuna, you know, that city definitely would ramp up his production. And really, if he pops and gets 1 victory point, that would make his game so much simpler. Time ticking down, drops the roads, he's going for it. Yeah, he goes down to the 8-3, which is so dangerous. Absolutely dangerous. You know what? On this one, I am going to throw caution on the hill. Because in that southwest corner, like I said, Dav has potential to come through and absolutely destroy that spot. 5 rolls, that's 3 ore for Ivy, 2 wheat for Hakuna and Shin. And it is Shin's turn with 9 cards. Oh, we've got a monopoly. That's the monopoly. 6 resources, that's all ore. Back-to-back development cards. Is Shin gonna pop for the win here? He's got 3 development cards down. City, no win. Shin's got 8 points, 3 down devs. Army is a lock. He passes, and it's a 10 that's rolled. Massive ore back on the board for everybody. Ivy looking really far away from the win now. The road length is 8, so Ivy would need at least 2 more roads to temporarily take road. In the meantime, Dav on 9 resources, 1 down dev. That army race has to go fast. That plow maybe has to happen. Which way does Dav go? Dav's being pulled in 2 different directions here. Does he go for this plow on Hakuna? Does he keep buying development cars to try and race Shin, who is bursting out of the gate right now after a triple pop off mono? That was an absolute turn of events there. And who knows? Maybe Shin has pulled all 3 knights. Who knows? That mono, I think he was sitting on it for the entire game. He had that very early on. And finally makes his move there. And that was a mono on turn 49. We're just at turn 50 right now. Absolutely massive spot in the game, turn 50. Very much into the late game now. Trying to figure out who controls road. Dav trying to give away 2 wood for sheep wheat. I think Dav is trying to do a double pop here as well. Dav could be dangerous here too. If there's a world where Dav has all the VPs already and Shin just misses out on some production and doesn't get to where Shin needs to get for those points, there's a world where Dav comes back and takes army. But that would be pretty tough to do. Shin's got to come down. He's still got a spot here too. Dav does get 1 pop. I'm sure he'd love a second one if he could. I think people are trying to get him to use some of his resources before giving it to him, because he still has six cards in hand. But it doesn't look like that plow's going to happen on Hakuna today. 3 ore to the bank for 1 wheat. Trying to give wood for sheep now. Time ticking down. Shin wouldn't take that trade. Hakuna comes in and says, all right, I'll give you another pop and another 10. The board is absolutely ripe for another mono right now. If Shin pulls back-to-back monos, that could be game over. He's got the ore port now too. Ivy wanting to give away ore for wheat. I think this is going to be some sort of a well, actually, this is more for Hakuna, who's saying yes. Hakuna wants to get more than 1 ore. He wants 2 there. Ivy only on 5 resources. Can't quite seem to connect. This might just be, a last-ditch effort to get another pop, find a VP, get some points in there. DavBav still maybe open to this potentially. Ivy trying to trade 1 for 1 late in the game, turn 52. It's passed to Hakuna, and it's a 4 that rolls. Shin only on 7 cards, so he is going to survive back to his turn with all cards intact. Hakuna only on 6. Is there a settlement in hand? Is there another way to get another point? He's only on 8. Ivy might finish this game out just on 6 after that amazing, incredible start. Hakuna with the settlement on the 8-3, 9 points, 5 rolls afterwards. Shin, 9 cards, 3 development cards. What's going to happen here? Shin got 2 more weak from that one. Trying to trade away still. I don't think he's going to get any takers on any of these trades. Trying to give away 2 ore for a sheep. Oh! And there was the double monopoly. And it was ore with the ore port. Shinuslaw, 21 cards. Trades into the bank ore. He goes road. He goes for the settle. As long as he's got 1 victory point in hand. He goes 2-1 again. Make sure he gets that next sheep. He pops again. I think he's trying to get an extra point here. And he's maximizing his points right now, it looks like. Using up all of his resources. He's going to go to that bank and trade away. He's still at 16 resources. He's down to 10 now, still building things. He buys another development card, drops a settlement down, and there you have it. Shinuslaw Hakuna with the first victory of Hero Island League. What an absolutely tremendous game. There you have it. The final score, Hero Island League game number 1. Shin with 10 points, HakunaMatata with 9, DavBav on 7, and Ivy with 6. GG's and well played to all. Look at that. 2 victory points on Dav, 1 for Matata. Let's check out those dice stats really quick for you. 2 rolling a couple of times. 3, we only did see one of those. 6s rolled high, but pretty darn close. 9s and 8s through the 5, 6, 7, and 8 there. Everything else looks to be in line. The resources, let's just click through. Great production from Ivy, but couldn't quite translate that into all the points that he needed. And of course, Hakuna taking road away from him really changed things up. So lots of trading happened. Look at that. No surprise there. Hakuna at the top. Ivy getting involved as well, but so was Shin. Lots of trading at this table. Lots of multi-card trades. We had gain from stealing, DavBav with some 7s and some knights. Shin with all of his knights as well. We've got resources. Look at that mono. Mono for ore. Look at that. Card spent, of course, Shin spending the most here. 7 out. Yeah, Ivy had 7'd out a couple of times there. Lots of block production here. Ivy actually getting most block from him on that solo 8. Otherwise, we've got some cards lost to trade, lost to stealing. Ivy, of course, losing the bulk of that ore, and from steals too. Good stuff. The activity there, turn time, pretty consistent throughout, 15 to 20 minutes for all. And dev cards here are bought. I'm going to jump in with the hill climbers here. What is up, everybody? Congratulations, Shinuslaw Hakuna. You messed me right up, right out the gate. I didn't know who it was. Oh, give me 2 seconds here. Okay, sounds like they can hear you now. There we go. Okay, so Shin, fantastic game. Of course, messed me up with your name right off the bat. How did you feel about the Hero Island League and coming back to playing? Oh, give me one second, boss. There we go.
Okay.
I can't hear. There you go.
Now, test? No?
Yeah, fixed. All right,
Okay.
Shin. Answer.
Okay. So basically, I think you coming up with this great tournament and giving me and us a table this perfect as a start was great. You know, I haven't played a Catan game this chill in a while. DavBav, one of the goats of Catan. Hakuna, you know, I love him. You look at my name. And Ivy. I don't know, Ivy, how you do it. How you always be so chill, even if you get like blocked this much and everyone like goes after you. You're still like the nicest person ever. So I'm super happy that I got invited, and I'm also happy that I am now the new mono Pilly man, I guess.
Oh, double mono. Yeah, so good to have you back. Thank you for playing, Shin. Congratulations on your win. I will go down through the list here. Hakuna, 9 points. So close. Any thoughts on the game?
Thought Shin played well because I don't think I ever blocked him. And I traded him. I guess I traded Shin a lot, or Ivy a lot too.
Yeah,
I never saw Shin as a threat until the monos came out, but he never monoed me, so I can't feel that bad.
Yeah, he definitely did mono Ivy quite a bit. Do you want to talk about some of those trades? There were some 3 for 3s, some 2 for 2s, and you were involved in the majority of those.
I think in this position, everyone has so much ore. I don't. It's mission 1, get to the port, and then mission 2, get ore from people. And so anything to help put other people as threats and then make those 2 goals happen as quick as possible on my end, that's how I get a chance here.
Yeah, I think you succeeded. You know, you snuck in the road in there, you built your cells, you got your ports, you got that wheat port activated, and you were using it quite a bit. Great to have you back too, Hakuna.
Thank you, sir.
DavBav, I was wondering if you were going to draw 3 VPs. You'd end up drawing 2. Your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, definitely an interesting one. I thought I had the leg up on Shin by taking away his 3-1 port because his all-wheat sheep setup was so strong. But then he did get that army lead. I kept trying to get knights. I got VP, I got another VP, I got a yacht right at the end. Shin monoed me twice, back to back, and I lost, I think, 6 ore in 2 turns. So on this final turn, I did have a year of plenty to settle city for 9 points, which would have been close, I guess. But Shin had no intentions of letting that happen. A fun one, and great to be involved and meet everyone, and play again with all these guys who I haven't seen in a while.
Yeah, you looked like you had a massive position. That 10 was popping off after you citied on it. After you citied on it again, settled on it, you were getting 5 ore at a time. And last but not least, Ivy, we thought you were going to run away with this one. You got the city down. You got the second city down. You just had to make it to that wood port, get the road, but yeah, things kind of stalled up along the way. Ivy, thoughts on the game?
Yeah, you and me both. I was feeling pretty confident, especially when I had the first city up. But I got both like very lucky and very unlucky. The 2 rolled, or the 2 high rolled, which was really nice, but I never got to use any of the sheep. I started the game with a sheep in hand. It was immediately stolen from me. My next 2 sheep were stolen from me, and then I got monoed to. I got monoed pretty brutally by Shin. I was hoping at least, like, when I saw the tide was turning, when I saw Hakuna was taking road, and like I would probably not be able to compete with him, I was like, at least I'll be able to get 4 cities down pretty easily because I have so much ore. And then it didn't end up happening because Shin came in with those manas. But it was really fun, and it's been nice to play with these guys again for sure.
Yeah, it's so nice, and you know what? A lot of the schedule was made just based off availability and who could make it at what times. But I am actually so glad that this table was the first table of Hero Island League. So thank you everyone for playing, and we'll see most of you back again for week 2, and I can't wait to see what happens when you guys play each other again and again and again.
Yes, and I'm looking forward to playing also. Kelly C is also one of the goats of Catan. So just happy to see you 4 people play next week.
Oh, so you get to win and then you get to take a little bit of a break. That's kind of nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, Kelly will be making his debut next week along with Ultimo. But in the meantime, thank you all so much. First leg of the climb is done for you. I'm going to do up your hill points right now to see how you really stack up against each other. So thanks everybody, and we'll see y'all next week.
Thanks, Hero.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Let's call it about a 5-minute break. In the meantime, enjoy the commercials. That was Game 1, Hero Island League. That's 1 down under our belt. We're coming back with Fluffy Island, but stats first, commercials even sooner. Have you or someone you know been scammed? Did you get stolen from while in last place? Were you unfairly robbed when someone else had more face-down development cards? Maybe you were on the receiving end of a nasty non-binding arrangement. Or most heinous of all, were you on the other end of a dirty monopoly? Here at Hero and Associates, we want to help you get a fair deal. Don't pay a single thing when you call now, and we can negotiate a future deal once everything's settled. Call 1-800-NO-SCAMS right now to get back in the game. That's 1-800-667-2267. Once again, 1-800-NO-SCAMS. I'm Retired Hero, and I want to know how I can help you. Are you or a loved one experiencing breath holding? Asking, how am I going to win? Sudden urge to make deals? Increased heart rate? And clenching of the fists? If you are, you might be getting plowed. Getting plowed is the second leading cause of Catanaregia, only behind being solo blocked while in last place. Learn to recognize the signs and symptoms of Catanaregia early and you might be able to save yourself or someone you love. Remember, it's basic. This message has been brought to you by the Fluffy Wellness Group. Worried about letting it ride? Afraid of those nefarious robbers? Theft is up 7,000% in the last century. Are you willing to risk it all on the roll of the dice? Fluxurance has been in the insurance industry since before Retired Hero was retired. Here at Fluxurance, we believe that together, we're safer. Don't be caught with your hands full. Contact 1-800-INSURED to get the best protection your resources can buy. Call 1-800-INSURED now for instant guaranteed protection with Fluxurance. Fluxurance. Together, we're safer. Did you know how much it costs to keep the plows running on the hill? Many people don't know that plows require critical annual maintenance, fuel, and copious amounts of waterproof wax. For the low price of just one hexagon-shaped cookie, you could keep the plows operational for another 69-turn game. Click the link below now to help keep the plows operational. After all, what's a game of Catan without the plows? That's right, it would be a sad, plowless affair. Donate now, and all of your donations will go directly to the HIL Fund. That's right, it supports HIL, HIL Fantasy, and general plow maintenance. Together, we can plow our way to a better future.